Donald Trump said he intends to bring an end to democracy, basically.
And again, Christians, get out and vote just this time.
Just this time.
You won't have to do it anymore. 4 more years, you know what? It'll be fixed. It'll be fine.
He's going to fix the system to such a point that you're not going to have to vote anymore.
You won't have to vote anymore, my beautiful Christians. I love you, Christians. I'm a Christian.
Sounded like he said, I'm not Christian, but in fairness, I think he said, I'm a Christian.
I'm a Christian. I love you. Get out. You got to get out and vote. In 4 years, you don't have to vote again. We'll have it fixed so good you're not going to have to vote.
Okay, now let's steelman this for a second, all right? Donald Trump likes to play these little games where he pretends to, like, be misinterpreted by the left or whatever. Best case scenario, what Donald Trump is saying here is, you're not going to have to vote in 4 years because I'm not running in 4 years, so it's up to you. You know, it's not going to matter. I'm going to fix the system so well it can't be broken again. What's the argument here? Hypothetically, Christians don't vote in 4 years and Trump is done or whatever. Now they don't have to vote again because, what, it won't matter if a Democrat gets in? Certainly not, right? That's not what Trump was saying. He was very clearly, at the very least, alluding to the fact that he's going to create a system where people don't have to vote at all anymore. He does this kind of thing all the time to get attention, but I feel it's imperative that we point it out when he says it. We cannot let this skate by. And you know what? Since his assassination attempt, Republicans have been saying, you're ramping up the rhetoric, left. You need to chill out and stop, saying all this terrible stuff. Let me let Brian Tyler Cohen lay this out for you. He does it pretty succinctly with Piers Morgan. I'll let him take it away. Check this one out.
One trick that Kamala Harris missed in her speech, it was not a bad speech at all. But one thing she didn't do, she didn't allude to the assassination attempt on Trump. And it's only been 9 days since someone tried to murder Donald Trump. And
okay, I wasn't here for the previous conversation, but I don't know why she has to talk about any subject that she doesn't want to. Like what?
Trump, and actually shot him in the ear, killing him by 1/4 of an inch.
That's true, guys. Did you see his ear after the bandage came off? Oh my God. Let me show you, because this is crazy. First public appearance with no bandage on his ear. Check that out. That's what the bullet did to his ear. Is that crazy or what? Boy, poor guy. Again, I don't condone violence. I do not condone assassination attempts. That's wrong. I don't want to live in a democracy or in any political system where that's accepted under any circumstances. Wasn't okay when it happened to Paul Pelosi. Not okay when it happens to Donald Trump. But I think he maybe was overplaying it a little bit. He's like walking around like 50 Cent. He got shot 9 times, but he doesn't walk with a limp. It's just ridiculous. Anyway, keep listening here.
Would it not have been a smart move in between calling him, a sexual predator and a con man and a fake and blah, 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 blah?
He is those things.
Very ad hominem stuff. Would it not...
Ad hominem? Okay.
Blah, 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 very ad hominem stuff. Would it not have been a smart move in terms of unity had she just taken a moment to acknowledge the assassination attempt and say how pleased she was that he survived it? Something of that nature.
First of all, she doesn't have to talk about anything she doesn't want to talk about. Second, it's not ad hominem because part of the presidency is character. That's why people release their tax returns when they run for president, so that you know that they're moral, upstanding characters and other things. If you vote somebody in who's a complete scumbag and doesn't care about anybody but themselves, it can end badly. You need somebody who is genuinely a good person to be president. So these aren't ad hominems. They were just proving to us that Trump is a scumbag. In any other conversation, if people were arguing Donald Trump was, I don't know. In any other situation, if people were using attacks, personal attacks as an argument against creationism or globular earth or whatever, that would be an ad hominem. That's not what's happening in this situation, but okay.
Piers, I find it so bizarre that the onus is always on the Democrats. It's always on the adults in the room to create unity. Where was everybody for the last 6 years calling for unity when Donald Trump was president? And, as far as the violence is concerned, I feel like any effort to try to pin, again, the onus on Democrats in terms of lowering the temperature in this country is just a testament to the fact that the Republicans are graded on the curve. Remember, it was not the Democrats. While we're talking about political violence, it wasn't the Democrats who laughed at Paul Pelosi being bludgeoned with a hammer. That was Donald Trump. It wasn't Democrats who called for military tribunals for Liz Cheney. That was Donald Trump. It wasn't Democrats who laughed at a kidnapping plot against Gretchen Whitmer. That was Donald Trump. It wasn't Democrats who called for General Mark Milley to be executed. That was Donald Trump. It wasn't Democrats who posted a baseball bat photo with Alvin Bragg and threatened death and destruction if he was charged. So
he's going to continue, but I just want to add to that for a second here, okay? We have Donald Trump saying he wants to end democracy. That's one thing. Here's another thing. This just happened. Like, after the assassination attempt, this happened.
Fight! 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 We got time. Come on. Hey, we are in the fight for the soul of our nation. We are in a fight for our kids and our grandkids, a fight that we can never imagine.
This guy has jaundice, it looks like to me. The people behind him are clearly a normal skin tone. He is not. He needs to get his liver checked immediately because he could have one foot in the grave, one on a banana peel. Seriously, get your liver checked. But that's neither here nor there. Okay, keep going.
I believe wholeheartedly Donald Trump and Butler County's J.D. Vance are the last chance to save our country politically. I'm afraid if we lose this one,
okay, just saying that right there, the last chance, that's kind of ramping it up a little bit. I mean, it's okay, but it's heightened now. And then he says,
if we lose this one, it's going to take a civil war to save the country, and it will be saved. It's the greatest experiment in the history of mankind. And if we come down to a civil war, I'm glad we got people like Schmitty and the Bikers for Trump on our side.
So tell me, who is it that's ramping up this rhetoric? Who is it that's calling for civil war nonstop and fear-mongering the ever-living out of everything and everybody? Take a look at this. This is a Tim Pool tweet recently. Kamala Harris represents the greatest existential threat to the United States. That means he believes Kamala Harris is going to murder a bunch of people, I guess. Existential threat? That means threat to the lives of the United States or the life of the U.S. I don't know. Unelected, that's just ridiculous. Anti-democratic appointment at the 11th hour by the Commucrats. That's not what happened, but I don't even care. I'm not going to address it. She is Hitler and Stalin combined, but times 200. She is a communazi despot come to put conservatives in concentration camps. This is the kind of rhetoric. This is the problem right here. And also, communazi? Really? I'm writing a book right now. I don't know when it's going to be out, sometime in the near future. Check my website if you want to see, owenmorgan.com, or the description. It's about communism and Hitler and Christianity and atheism and eugenics and how they all worked together to get Hitler elected. It's called Weaponizing Christianity, how Hitler used, what was it? How Hitler used the church to accomplish his goals. That's the title of the book. Anyway, keep a lookout for it if you're interested. The point that I'm getting to here is that communism and Nazism were diametrically opposed. You could not be both. One was a right-wing movement, a right-wing nationalist extremist movement, being the Nazis, and the other was a far-left authoritarian movement. So the only thing that they really had in common was that they were dictatorships, just about. Literally every single thing outside of that is completely different, down to the moral philosophies and the methodology of everything. And the fact that he's, this word is comical. Communazi. I truly never thought I would ever see this word. Communazi. He's calling her a communazi that's going to put us in concentration camps. Or conservatives, I guess. Where did he get that? Got me. Maybe from this dude right here who's saying we need a civil war. Who also has jaundice. What about this clip right here with Charlie Kirk. This isn't Charlie Kirk. We'll see in a second. He's talking about, when he says DEI in this, he's talking about black people. DEI is the new word for black, or for any minority group, you name it. Women, you're Mexican, whatever.
Turbulence hits, or when you're flying through a storm and you're like, I'm so glad I saw the guy with the right stuff and the square jaw get into the cockpit before we took off, and I feel better now. You
want to go thought crime? Like, I'm sorry, if I see a black pilot, I'm going to be like, boy, I hope he's qualified.
Okay, look, that's not a thought crime. There are no thought crimes in the U.S., and there shouldn't be. Somebody on the left, I say there shouldn't be thought crimes. That's not a thought crime problem. That's you being a shithead problem. You can't say something that's a complete scumbag thing to say and then complain when somebody says, yo, bro, that's like a scumbag thing to say. That's not how this works, okay? People are going to call you a scumbag and you're going to deserve it. Should you go to jail? No. But that doesn't mean you're not a scumbag. Now check this one out. This is a Charlie Kirk rally. At the end of this guy's about to talk about like violence, and Charlie Kirk at the end says he denounces it because he doesn't want this to be used against him or whatever in this thing or that thing. But completely unprompted, one of the audience member comes up and asks him a question. By the way, this clip is from late October 2021.
At this point, we're living under corporate and medical fascism. This is tyranny.
I don't even know what that means. Corporate and medical fascism?
When do we get to use the guns? No, and I'm not, that's not a...
There's got to be a joke, right? He's got to be joking. It's a joke. It's all a joke.
And that's not a joke. I'm not...
Ooh, yeah. What's their defense going to be this time?
Saying it like that. I mean, literally, where's the line? How many elections are they going to steal before we kill these people?
No.
That's psychotic. So who's raising the temperature? Who is raising the temperature in the political environment in the United States, precisely? Who's to blame for this? Republicans are graded on a curve. They raised the temperature. They have to lower it. We, being to the left of hunting the homeless for sport, can't lower the temperature. There's nothing we can do because we're not doing anything like that. We're not calling for people's deaths. We're not encouraging people to do assassination attempts or use guns against people or whatever. Like I said, Charlie Kirk goes on to denounce that and says that's exactly what the left wants, for you to say things like that so it can be used against us, basically. But why would somebody even show up to something like this and say something like that so confidently to Charlie Kirk on camera with a microphone if he didn't think that he was going to get a positive response? And did you hear people in the background yelling?
This is tyranny. When do we get to use the guns? No,
That's cheering. They're clapping and cheering.
That's not a joke. I'm not saying it like that. I mean, literally, where's...
Anyway, the point is, it's not Democrats raising the temperature, and it's not Democrats that can lower it. Not possible for me to lower it anymore. I'm not doing anything like that. So listen to Brian Tyler Cohen's response to Piers Morgan, continued here, now that we have that in mind.
He was charged. So in all of these examples, Piers, it is not the Democrats who've done this. It's not the Democrats who've validated the use of political violence as a tool in this country. And it shouldn't be on the Democrats all of a sudden.
That's important. Validated violence as a political tool. Rhetoric is harmful and ramps things up, raises the temperature in the country, but legitimizing violence as a political tool is one of the biggest problems that you do not see from the left. You don't see that. You don't see people like that jaundice guy saying we need a civil war and we're going to make it happen if we lose this election. You don't see that on the left.
To be the adults in the room.
All right, Brian, to a point, Lord Copper, as we would say in the UK, right?
I don't know what that means.
It's the Democrats who for 8 years have screamed that he's Adolf Hitler. That's fairly violent rhetoric. You're comparing...
No, it's not. Calling him Hitler is, or not calling him Hitler, but saying he's like Hitler is accurate. Saying that he's Hitler, so we need to take him out. Somebody please get your guns. We need to fight a civil war. Blah, blah, blah. That would be violent rhetoric. No one is saying that. I don't know of a single high-profile politician anybody with more than like 2 likes on Twitter who's saying anything like that. And I haven't even seen that person with 2 likes. I'm just saying, hypothetically, they probably exist. It's not violent rhetoric to point out that Donald Trump literally quotes Hitler, like word for word quotes Hitler. This one's from November 12th, 2023.
In honor of our great veterans on Veterans Day, pledge to you that we will root out the communists, Marxists, fascists, and the radical left thugs
that literally words out of Hitler's mouth. Marxists, communists, what was the other one? I think he said fascists. He didn't have anything against fascists.
Communists, Marxists, fascists, and the radical left thugs.
Yeah, radical left thugs.
That live like vermin within the confines of our country.
The word vermin, specifically, is from Hitler's mouth. Need another example? I have like 60. Trump is intentionally setting out to say and do things like Hitler, in my opinion. And I did a whole video about this previously, about how he is setting out to act like Hitler. And you can watch that if you want. Just give you one more example in this video. He's talking about immigrants right now.
And pick the worst one, and you're not going to see what we're witnessing now. No control whatsoever. Nobody has any idea where these people are coming from. And we know they come from prisons. We know they come from...
Well, how do you know they come from prisons, immigrants that is, if you don't know where they're coming from? What are you talking about? No, we know where they come from. They're not immigrants, by the way, that he's complaining about. They're refugees. Many from Venezuela, for example. People who live in war-torn areas. And the reason that they're coming over the U.S. border is because by international law, the United States must have a humanitarian corridor open for refugees to reach a UN asylum center where you can seek asylum or whatever. That's why the border is open, quote unquote, for refugees. But okay, go on.
Whatsoever. Nobody has any idea where these people are coming from. And we know they come from prisons. We know they come from mental institutions, insane asylums. We know they're terrorists. Nobody has ever seen anything like we're witnessing right now. It is a very sad thing for our country. It's poisoning the blood of our country.
Poisoning the blood. Poisoning the blood of our country. Direct quote out of Hitler's mouth. Those are the words that he used, in German, of course. He's famous for saying that specific phrase. I just gave you like 2 or 3 or more examples of Donald Trump quoting Hitler, quoting him. Again, a billion others. I don't need to go down the rabbit hole right now. It's not violent to say that he's copying Hitler in the things that he says and does and the way he acts. That is factual. No one is calling for his death.
Fairly violent rhetoric. You're comparing him directly
No.
to an absolute
Absolutely
genocidal
not, Piers.
maniac
If Donald
who
Trump,
murdered 12 million people, including 6 million Jews in a Holocaust. So
yes, Hitler bad. We all agree. Okay, we're all on the same page. Hitler bad. Great. Go on.
a Holocaust. So when you do that, that is violent rhetoric.
No, it isn't.
Piers, if Donald Trump acts like a fascist, it is not the Democrats' fault for calling him a fascist.
You're saying he is?
That is
He
his
is
behavior.
Hitler?
No, he's Donald Trump. Hitler was Hitler. We're saying that he acts like Hitler. The things that he does are literally copied directly from Hitler. That's what we're saying. Do you think that we believe that he's like secretly wearing a mask and that he's actually got like the little stash and everything under that mask? Like, what do you mean he is Hitler? He's trying to mock it. He's trying to make fun of the notion that Trump is like Hitler. He is. He just is. There's no mockery to be had here.
Fault for calling him a fascist.
You're saying he is?
That is
he
his
is
behavior.
Hitler? He is Hitler?
No, absolutely not. But I'm.
Yes, he's literally Hitler. I mean, Hitler had a time machine stored in Argentina, and the Pope snuck him into Argentina. No, cryogenic freezing chamber. Yeah, that's what it is. Got into this cryo freezing thing, you know, and they woke him up like in 2016 and said, all right, go run the United States. And he thought, all right, well, that's fine, but my face is all f***ed up from this freezing process, so I've got to find some way to, like, make it look at least halfway normal. And so they said, you know what is really popular right now? Tanning. So why don't you put a bunch of this orange, disgusting, caked-on makeup on your face like a fucking clown. Put that all over your face and make your hair, like, all frizzy so we can't even tell, like, what the hairdo is supposed to be. Like, is it like a swirl? Like, which way is it even swirling? Yeah, do that and then go to America and run for president. Yeah, that was Hitler's plan. Yeah, he's literally Hitler. Absolutely.
Saying he does act like a fascist. He does want to consolidate power in the executive branch. He does want to send the military into American cities. He does want to
you have no
terminate
problem
the
comparing him to Adolf Hitler?
No. Why would anybody have a problem with that? He's literally done those things.
I am calling him a fascist. That's what I'm doing. That was me.
Okay, yeah, that's kind of the end of the thing. But he's trying to mock it and make it hyperbolic, Piers Morgan was, to make him look ridiculous. That's not ridiculous. Embrace it. Yes, he is like Hitler. Brian Tyler Cohen didn't have the benefit of like a clip collection, on hand where he could pull a clip up of Trump literally quoting Hitler word for word, for example. But I do. So hopefully I've convinced some people. Anyway, these people are the ones that are ramping up the temperature in the United States right now. And they're the ones that need to ramp it down. I have no control over what these nutcases are doing. Anyway, tell me what you think about it in the comments. These people they're shameless, all of them. It's not on us. It's on them now. Ball's in your court.